Alright, Dr. Phil has a lot of opinions. He loves talking about the border, even though he doesn't know that much about the border. But in this clip, he's going to talk about the 3 things that President Trump has done at the border, or at least the 3 things he's trying to do at the border. And spoiler, they don't make much sense. But Piers just eats it up because he also knows nothing about the border. But let's play this clip.
3 primary objectives. One was to close the border, and I think that's been effectively done.
Yes.
I mean, the illegal crossings.
Amazingly successful, yeah. And Trump isn't getting nearly enough credit for that.
And number 2.
Alright, let's talk about what close the border means, because I don't think anyone on the right knows what close the border means. The border is not a door that you can open and close. What Trump has done is he has removed every single avenue that is ordinarily available for people who approach the border to come to the United States. Some of those are statutorily guaranteed in the INA. So let's go through some of them. He truncated Biden's CH&V parole. This was parole from a bunch of countries, and he essentially got the Supreme Court to allow him to truncate it. He already stopped handing it out as soon as he got into office. That is one avenue. That is completely fine. I think we should have a CH&V parole because there are problems in each of those countries and we should let those people in, but it's well within the executive's authority to end that program. However, he has also ended asylum. All right, Refugee International says they could not find any evidence that one person, not even one person, is getting a credible fear interview. So if they come up to the border and they're like, my husband, I have credible threat that my husband would endanger my life or otherwise whatever if I went back to my home, so I'm fleeing domestic violence and I want to claim asylum. Or you could say anything like my political views, my government is persecuting me because of my sexuality, anything. We could go down the list of all the asylum cases. They just turn you away. They won't give you asylum. Even though it is guaranteed in the INA as a right. This is not something that the president can take away. The INA gives the president the ability to take away standard travel, like travel visas from certain countries, parole, everything except asylum. The executive branch cannot cancel out a statute that Congress has passed. So he is exceeding his authority in the INA there. That has been ruled countless times. Not in this administration yet. There are lawsuits, but in his first administration it was ruled, even against Biden. Right? Biden stopped asylum for people who claimed it between ports of entry. And that was illegal. I believe some lawsuits found. I am all for a huge border patrol. We should double, triple the size of border patrol. We should even build a wall. I mean, I don't care about, I think nobody should evade border patrol. But that's not what these people think an open border is. And we cared about that. If we cared about drugs, we would have signed in Biden's border bill. It was a perfect bill. It would have increased CPB, increased asylum process rates, basically everything under the sun. Bunch of benefits for Afghan allies. But yeah, first point, completely nonsensical. He doesn't even know what close the border means. He couldn't tell you what Trump has done at the border to save his life.
2 was the worst first. Let's get the violent criminals out of here. The TDA,
yes.
Trinidad, let's get them out of here. MS-13, let's get the gang members, those that are, and typically they start out by victimizing their countrymen.
All right, so second one, this is more bipartisan. All right, worst first, let's get the criminals out. Well, how does unleashing ICE to raid workforces, farms, restaurants, construction sites, like, Pick your workplace. They're raiding it. And Trump has walked back on some of that. How does that find criminals? Because where are the criminals? They're in prison, right? There's fingerprint sharing systems that can allow ICE to see if an illegal immigrant is in prison. They do not have all the information that they need to detain them unless the prison facility cooperates with them. That is what the difference between a sanctuary city and non-sanctuary is. The sanctuary cities and states will cooperate with the detainer. Now, some sanctuary states, or most sanctuary states and municipalities, will cooperate with ICE but not issue a detainer. So what they will do is they're going to say, hey, this person's going to be released at this time. We're not going to issue a detainer because we believe that violates their Fourth Amendment rights. But we're releasing them at this time. You can wait outside if you want. If they're a violent enough criminal. For other states who don't have it in their kind of moral values to mass deport people who just did some kind of petty crime or got arrested and not convicted, will not notify ICE. So stealing a toothbrush, we're not going to notify ICE. That's kind of the difference there. Now let's talk about the gang members. Do I think that Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act is correct? Yes, kind of. As long as he gives people a chance to object to the fact that they are part of the group that the Alien Enemies Act has exacted upon, that Trump has used the Alien Enemies Act on, then it's all good. But the problem is he was not giving them people to contest the fact that they were a part of Tren de Aragua, or MS-13. He was simply putting them on planes, and a ton of those people had zero criminal record, never been charged with gang affiliation, gang membership in the United States or in Venezuela. They're just going off of tattoos or whatever you want. I mean, or just like one witness or something, or one informant, right? That's the whole Abrego Garcia thing, one informant. We're just going to go off of that and make all these claims that extrapolate from that reason. So, yeah, I'm all for deporting criminals. I think some sanctuary states and cities go too far. They should cooperate with ICE in every major felony, because if you come to this country illegally and you commit a crime, then I believe that you've overstayed your welcome, right? You had one chance. All right, let's see the third one.
That's where they go first, because they've got the bluff in on them, and so they start victimizing their own countrymen. And then third is find the missing children. There are a minimum of 300,000 missing children. Now, some of them have found their way to family, and they're safe.
All right, this is the worst one yet. This is a good one to know, because it is a complete lie. It's just literally not true. So the report he's talking about, and kind of, it listed all of the unaccompanied minors that essentially approached the border, and then they were given sponsors by HHS. These sponsors are vetted. Some people don't like how much they are vetted. If you would like them to be vetted more, then you have to be prepared to detain the child for a longer amount of time to find the perfect person to hand them over to. And that is simply not feasible from a humanitarian perspective. Now let's talk about what he means by missing children. So there are 300,000 children who have not been issued a notice to appear in court. Why is that? So that's what he means by missing. They had not been issued a notice to appear by ICE. Not because ICE doesn't know where they are, and we'll get to that later, but because they're minors. We have legislation in the United States that essentially prevents minors from being deported or put in removal proceedings. They have a right to seek affirmative asylum. They don't have to seek defensive asylum. Defensive asylum is to defend yourself from a removal. So once they turn 18, then ICE is going to issue them a notice to appear. And that's where the actual argument for missing children comes in, because some of the children who turn 18, they're no longer children at that point, by the way, but they did encounter the border as children. Some of them won't show up to court, either because ICE has the wrong address, or because they're confused, scared to be deported, whatever. Name your reason, right? But the point is, these children are not lost, and just because ICE has not seen them since they got released with their sponsor doesn't mean they're sex trafficked or in forced labor. If Dr. Phil would like to point out where the forced labor camps are in the United States that all these 300,000 children are working for, then go ahead. But he cannot prove that they aren't with their sponsors. And then what he says after just makes me think he has zero idea what he talks about. He said that they found their families. Does he know that unaccompanied minors have no family here? They're unaccompanied. Unless their family lives in the United States and they kicked them out somehow and then they came back? Like, it makes zero sense. The sponsor is their family, and they were connected by the Biden administration, right? It's very, very simple. Let's see if he has anything more to say.
But an unsettling number are being sex trafficked, or they're into forced labor, and they need to be found, helped, given services, medical, psychological, sociological, and reunited with their families.
All right. Yeah, all of that's not true. He can't prove anything about the trafficking. Even if he could, why is he trying to take the moral high ground? I don't get it. He's the party of deporting children who came here, even though they were children when their parents took them here, right? How are you trying to say Biden's policies allow people to be trafficked when it's literally the policy against trafficking that is preventing them from being removed as a minor? If we deport people as a minor when they're less than 18 years old, which is current policy, which is what Dr. Phil wants, then more trafficking will take place. If we solve the missing children problem, more trafficking would take place under Dr. Phil's kind of conception of reality. But this is a crazy video. Let's see if, I don't even know, does Piers affirm this?
So those are the 3 prime directives. But here's what's happening. In sanctuary cities where they refuse to cooperate.
All right, he's just gonna go on more nonsense. Sanctuary cities do cooperate with violent criminals. Most of them do. Some areas of California don't do that. Illinois doesn't do that. And I disagree with that. I think we should deport violent criminals. Sanctuary cities sometimes don't coordinate with ICE because they have Fourth Amendment issues, and they with detainers, and they in general want to keep like community trust with immigrants, so they just don't touch ICE at all. I mean, I respect it, but it's just not something I'd vote for. I think those people should be deported. But that's the end of this video. Dr. Phil, stay out of politics.